Cougars.
As a godmother of 2 little boys, I am always thinking of ways to help them grow and prosper in life. It started prior to birth, but even more prominently though, it was immediately after birth that mattered so much. Imagine having to put down that burger, or veggie burger for my vegetarians out there, that you've been craving so much. With that fresh lettuce, perfectly sliced tomatoes, the gooey melty cheese, and a crisply toasted bun. As Jimmy Buffett put it, I like mine with lettuce and tomatoes, Heinz 57 and deep fried potatoes. Unfortunately, someone is walking past, so you must hide it away. That's how a newborn who has no idea why he or she cannot eat feels. Breastfeeding in public should not be sexualized the way that it is today. A woman should have the right to feed her baby when it's time for them to eat, no matter the location of where she is at. Women all over breastfeed. All over the country, all over the nation, and all over the world. As a human, we cannot live long without the sustenance our bodies needs. For an infant, that is milk. When first born, baby stomachs are roughly the size of a cherry, meaning small volumes often is how they need to eat to remain healthy. It is near impossible and very impractical to expect anyone to stay at home 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. According to the American Academy of Pediatrics, there are many benefits to breastfeeding specifically. For example, breastfeeding lowers the risks of allergies, childhood lymphoma, leukemia, obesity, ear infections, respiratory tract infections, both types 1 and 2 diabetes, and even sudden death syndrome. They stated that infants who breastfeed for at least 4 months has reduced hospitalization stays for respiratory infections in the first year of infancy by 72%. Having learned this about countless other health benefits for mother and baby, many women choose to breastfeed. The problem here is some people feel a woman should not have the right to feed her hungry infant in public if she is feeding by breast. If she uses formula though, it is fine, which the Department of Nutrition at the University of California has generated studies that show that formula increases risks of chronic disease later in life, including obesity, type 2 diabetes, and cardiovascular disease. The reasonings most people have against breastfeeding in public is due to the breast being sexual, and thus it is lewd for a woman to present her breast. It is somehow not lewd though, when on billboards, sculptures, and painting all throughout in our community. Here's one billboard in reference in figure 1 if you could take a look. I chose this one because it is considered modest, yet you can see her entire nipple. There is also the infamous Venus de Milo sculpture, if you look at figure 2. The nipple is also visible on this sculpture. I propose we support our women. I propose hospitals offer free seminars, once or twice a month. Women who feel silly questioning how, what, or even when have access to the ins and outs of breastfeeding. It isn't as simple as shoving it in the baby's mouth. There's proper positioning and making sure your baby has a good latch. In figure 3, you can see where that's really necessary. The Office on Women's Health at the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services lists 5 different positions alone on their website, which you see in figure 4. There's the clutch, the transitional hold, the cradle hold, the straddle hold, and the sideline positions. Each position beneficial for different scenarios more so than others. When my youngest godson Joseph was born, his mother struggled with getting him to latch at all, let alone properly. She had to express her milk by hand. Thankfully, a lactation consultant was available to show her how. According to Deborah Gaymer, the directress at Holistic Self Pregnancy and Birth Center, 100% of patients have had questions about breastfeeding. Gaymer said, except for a few, only a few, I'm sure you guys can imagine how many patients she sees. Every patient has come more than once for information specifically on breastfeeding. I also propose places of work offer time and space for breastfeeding women to pump, a space other than a bathroom stall, a clean and comfortable space with privacy, sink, and a fridge. More than just available information and workplace accommodations, we can support our women in the community too. Offering rooms like the workplace rooms, often called a mother's room, if you look at figure 5, you could see what I'm in reference, to pump in a clean, private environment throughout our community is another step that we can take to making our community just a little bit more breastfeeding friendly. In June of 2016, there was a news story circulating like wildfire, which included a video of a woman breastfeeding her child at Target. She was sitting off to the side in a mostly deserted part of the store, just feeding her child, when she was approached by a man and then verbally assaulted. In the video, you can hear the woman state, "I'm shaking." This is not the only account of women being assaulted for feeding the child, for breastfeeding the child in public. If we ignore the demand for a more accepting community, we are likely to be hearing more and more about these types of situations, these horrifying interactions. With better workplace accommodations, ease of access to information, and support in the community, there will be a safer place for women all over. According to the American Journal of Health Promotion, one-day absences to care for sick children occur more than twice as often for mothers of formula feeding infants. Reading that study, you learned that mothers and babies are not the only ones to prosper from breastfeeding. Not only are there fewer absences, but lower employee turnouts as well of breastfeeding mothers as opposed to formula feeding mothers. In conclusion, with ease of access to information, accommodations in the workplace, and a more supportive community, we can make our community safer and a more breastfeeding friendly one. Now I ask you to support me, support our women. Look around you, your mothers, your grandmothers, your sisters, your aunts, your cousins. Support us. My simple request is just to support. I mean, if you'd like to eat in the bathroom, go right ahead, but we're fine right here. Thank you for your time.